edition of the 3 a.m. Club. Today is Monday, July 20th, 2020. And we have made it through another week of the pandemic, and we are starting another week of the pandemic. I hope you are safe wherever you are. Hope you had a great weekend, right? And I hope you are focused and hungry and ready to start a brand new week. So we'll give it a couple minutes to allow everybody to get on. Allow me to finish thinking today's message. What's up, Byron? Good morning. Give it a little bit of time to let everybody log on. And I'm actually just kind of finalizing my thoughts on what I wanted to talk about today. I think I got a good idea what I'm going to talk about. I just got to try to keep it condensed. I got to try to hit all the points, keep it condensed, and close it. So we'll see. Good morning, or good night. I know some of you out there on the West Coast. Good night, good morning. I'll retool and go to work. That's what we'll do. All right. Let's see. Remind me later. Okay. So good night. Yep. So if you're up, what are you working on right now? You get ready to start your day. You went for your morning walk. You finish your nightly routine. Let me know what you got going on. Check my Facebook. We are live on Facebook if you want to watch on Facebook. Let's see, 3:02 a.m. I'll give it another minute. All right, let's see. I should start playing some music in the background. What do you think? That's right, working on that level up. Start playing some music in the background for my morning intro. I need somebody who's in music to write me a custom 3 a.m. morning intro, like I'm on the radio. So I can play it when we come in. And I just bust in with the 3 a.m. message. So if you're watching this and you are a musician and you want exposure, IG will mute you. Even if you put that disclaimer, I do not own the rights to this music. I do not own the rights to this music. I actually need to hurry up. I got a chance to feed the baby before the 3 a.m. club. Sometimes she so I got to make sure that all right, so let's see, it's 3:03 a.m. I am going to reward the people who are on time, and if you are not on time, we got it started anyway. So if you're logging on and watching live, I really appreciate you for taking the time out of your day, taking the morning to really just refocus. Like I said, it's a new week. Every Monday we do this to just refocus, to get ready, to actually go out and execute, to go out and do whatever it is we need to have a strong week. And as entrepreneurs, our mindset, right? Our mindset and where our focus is plays a significant part in how we perform throughout the week. We don't have the luxury of, having a boss, having a manager, having somebody when to do it, telling us how to do it, telling us why to do it. And so being able to operate at a certain level of focus, a certain level of determination, a certain level of just grit and hunger, and having the ability to continually motivate yourself each and every day to get up and do, what you need to do is not an easy feat. And if you've never tried entrepreneurship, if you've never been an entrepreneur, it's really hard to describe the level of intensity that you need to have when it comes to believing in your vision and believing, in that business idea and believing in that business. Sometimes that hunger and that desire is so strong that it ends up clouding our vision. But anyway, welcome to the 3 a.m. Club. Today, I think we're going to talk a little bit about grinding through the pain. Grinding through the pain. So I got a lot of friends who are going through some serious life changes that is really going to have a significant impact on their everyday life, a significant impact on their everyday routine, a significant impact on their mental and emotional wherewithal and well-being, and that's outside of the ramification, implications, and all of the problems and things that may have popped up as a result of COVID-19 and the pandemic itself. These are issues that are outside of that. In addition, I know there are a lot of people whose life has really been turned upside down in the last 3 to 5 months. People who have lost jobs and may have lost a job they've been at for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years or more. A lot of people who have to, funny enough, a lot of people who aren't able to travel as much, and now they have to actually, be home more than they've ever been before. That can create situations. I remember when the pandemic first happened and I was listening to C-SPAN, and a guy called in and he was really worried about his marriage and whether or not it was going to last, because now him and his wife were being forced, to spend more time together. So there are all of these different situations and scenarios people have been thrust into, some as a result of their own actions or inactivity, and then there are people who are being thrown into situations that are complete, that because it's completely out of their control, and there's this pandemic that has flooded the earth and it's caused a change. So I was thinking about the last few years of my life and some of the challenges that I had to endure, and how the way that I responded to those challenges, and how I actually went to work and literally grinded through the pain of that experience, how that experience and how that grind has allowed me to be in the position that I'm in today, and to have the platform and the delivery and the hunger and the focus and the motivation and the experience to be able to do certain things that I'm doing, and certain things that we are going to do as I look over the next 6 months, and thinking about the reality that one decision, right? One decision you make could have a totally different ramification for your life. I was talking about this a couple days ago, and the idea of, if you look back over the last 10 years and you look at every single decision that you made, if you made one decision different, your entire life as you know it today would be totally different, right? It's really astounding. And although you can't spend time thinking about who would I have been, like for me, I couldn't imagine being anyone else than who I am right now. But again, had I made one decision differently, I'm a totally different person in a totally different situation, and that situation being who knows what it is. But in the same respect, how you go through the years and what you do can set you up for new opportunities, or it could prevent you from able to take on new opportunities, depending on how you responded through the situation or through the life experience that you were going through. Prime example, where are we at? 9:26. Prime example. If, let's say, 2 years ago, and I'll give you the backstory on it. So let's see, 2017 was a very, very interesting year. Very, very interesting year. It was one in which business-wise, I had a lot of different things going on, and there there were some challenges with the business model. There were things that I didn't want to do anymore. There were things that, you know, I was still tied up in. I had business partners. You know, you have business partners and you go through these challenges. I had some challenges with my business partner. And as the year was ending, I was like, you know, I was tired. I was burnt out. I had been on the entrepreneur grind for, at that point, man, it had been like 7, 8 years. And I just remember telling someone, I was like, man, I'm tired. You know, I'm burnt out. And they're like, man, just make sure, you know, do what you got to do, get your rest, but we're going to need them. I'm like, okay. You know, I'm making these transitions through some leadership organizations and, you know, getting positioned to take on some higher levels of leadership. And, you know, a lot of good things going on. But the business, I started to see the decline in revenue in the business. And I was trying all these different things. I had all these challenges going on and I was tired, right? I'm like, man, I'm tired. And as the year started to end, it was like October, no, it was like November, it was around Thanksgiving. And I was down in the basement playing cards or playing some game with my wife and my mother-in-law. We had at that I had 2 dogs, and one of the dogs, he had started to get really antsy. We brought a second dog into the house, and over the course of like 6 months, his personality started to change. And as part of his personality changing, he became a lot more aggressive. Well, on this particular day, for whatever reason, he was just really aggressive. He was biting at me. He kept nibbling at my feet. And as we're playing the game, you know, you're playing the game and the game gets intense. And I remember, like, I think it was some card game, Uno or something. I was like, Uno. And I slammed the card down on the table. And as I slammed the card down on the table, the dog reacted and he bit me on my foot. And in the heat of the moment, I got upset, and I responded to the dog and I'm like, you know, what the fuck? And as soon as I said, you know, what the fuck, the dog just went on attack mode. And literally this 50-pound dog just literally attacked me. And so with it was a very short period of time, but within a minute, literally I found myself fighting with this dog who's biting my arm, my left arm. He's biting my right arm. He's biting me on my chest. And I literally grabbed this dog by the neck and I'm trying to choke this dog off of me, and literally I lost the grip, and then I started to notice all this blood coming down my hand. And luckily my wife was able to get the dog. She got him under control, and as she got him under control and she got him, you know, to unlock from me, I ran into the other room and I couldn't feel anything in my right hand, and I had all this blood, you know, coming down my arm. And it was just this really crazy and just really crazy incident. Well, long story short, the dog bit me. I had to go to the hospital. He bit me like 10 times on my right hand wrist. He had bit my wrist. He had bit my, and he caused some nerve damage in my hand. So that's why I wasn't able to hold the grip, and why I wasn't able to feel all of my fingers, because I had lost a lot of there was a lot of nerve damage that caused a lot of loss of feeling in my pinky and this finger. It was crazy. So anyway, that was around Thanksgiving. This was 2017, right? Then in December, right, I think it was a day after Christmas. This is literally less than a month later, a day after Christmas. Now, mind you, I'm burnt out. My business, the revenue has been declining, so with the stress of business. Then I get attacked by a dog. Now I'm walking around with a hand that hardly works, and I don't know, I don't know if I'm literally going to be handicapped for the rest of my life, because I've had nerve damage in my hand and I can't grip my hand. I can't feel my pinky. I've got all these scars on me. And then Christmas comes around, December 26th comes around, and I'm out of town, and I get this phone call from my middle brother, and he's like, "Yo, mom fell out at the subway station, and she's in the hospital." So I'm like, man, I get back to DC, come to find out my mom had a heart attack. They had to resuscitate her 4 times, and by the time we got to the hospital, the first conversation that we had to have was, what do you want to do? There's a strong chance that your mom isn't going to make it. And literally being the oldest son, being the one who, has to talk to my other brothers, talk to the rest of the family, not even really having time to do all of that. We had to make a decision on what was going to happen that night if they had to try to resuscitate her, a fifth time, and what that would look like potentially in terms of her, the health ramifications and things like that. So I'm like, man, here we go, another event. And I don't have the best relationship with my mom, right? It's not a situation where, I'm a mama's boy or anything like that. And leading up to that, I had never really thought about, my mom dying, and, didn't really think about that. Didn't really think about how that would feel. And I was faced with the reality that I could lose my mom. All of this emotional baggage, right? All this emotional baggage from my childhood, from my upbringing, from our relationship, from just all of these question marks that I've always had, like all of this stuff just started flooding out over the course of the next 2 or 3 weeks, because luckily she survived, but she was literally in a coma for literally like 3 weeks. And they had to chill her body. They literally had to lower her temperature to like 40 or 50 degrees to help to try to preserve some functioning of her organs, and literally try to keep her alive. And so it was just a wild time. So going into 2018, I had I had the dog bite, I had the business issue, I had my mom almost dying, I had the trauma from dealing with both of those situations. And then going 2018, I had the reality of, I have some serious business challenges. And so I started 2018 just on a roller coaster. And 2018 turned out to be my worst year in business. It was the first time that my business actually lost money. While at the same time, the dichotomy was that at the same time that my business was losing money, I was also doing the biggest deals that I had ever done. I was selling more, brokering and selling more $1 million properties. I had $1 million over, it was like $1 million, 1.2, $1.3 million investment project going on. I had, all of this stuff happening on the positive side, but I also had all this stuff happening on the negative side, in the trauma, in the experience, in the fatigue, in the impact of what was happening on the negative side started to really overshadow, the things that were happening on a positive. And so then I started to deal with the trauma of business trauma and the loss of business. And so I just had all of this trauma that I was experiencing. And at the same time, I had to be strong, and I had to continue to, be a pillar where I had to, of course, be a husband, still handle, my responsibility in the household. I had to be strong for my family. I had to be strong, for my brothers. I had to be strong, for my mother. And I had to continue to grind, through the pain that I was going through the issues that I was going through trauma that I was going through, and trying to figure out what I was going to do in my own life, what I was going to do with my business, what I was going to do if my mom died, and all of this different stuff. But what allowed me to get through, that traumatic experience, the traumas, the layers of trauma, was the fact that I literally had to grind through the pain. I literally had to put my head down and go to work, right? I literally had to go to work. And when I say go to work, I literally went to work, no kidding, 8 to 16 hours a day, almost 2 years straight. I didn't take a day off, literally just grinding, working, trying to figure out where was I going to, what direction was I going to go in? Where did I go wrong in terms of my business? Where did I go wrong in terms of, my life? How would I change, try to fix, or try to improve, my relationship with my mother, since, we had another chance, all of these different things that were happening. And when I started the 3 a.m. club, the conversation earlier, I talked about how, when you go through life as an individual, and especially an entrepreneur, everything you go through in your personal life, physically, mentally, emotionally, is going to have an impact on your business. Whether you have people working for you, whether you don't, it's going to have an impact on your business. And so how do you grind through the pain of what you're going through personally, that it doesn't impact your business? And then if it does impact your business, how do you try to limit and control the impact that it has on your business? Well, some of the things, you have to recognize the experience that you're going through. You have to recognize that there is change happening, and you have to reassess, why are these things happening? What could I have done to prevent these things? If there was nothing that I could do, or at least I feel I could do to prevent them, how can I respond, and what do I need to respond with? And case in point, one of the things that I had to respond with was strategy. I had to look at my overall business. I had to look at the structure of the business. I had to look at the revenue streams of the business. I had to look at the direction of the business. I had to look at the goals of the business. I had to reassess my skill set and see where my skill set was deficient. I had to look at, how did I treat the dog before we had the attack? I had to think about all of the different times where we had good interactions, and I had to think about all of the times where we had bad interactions. And I had to take accountability for the fact that during our bad interactions, I had a part to play in the relationship of, that me and the dog had, that potentially could have been part of the reason that led to, the altercation and the interaction. I had to look at, how did I interact with my mom despite the challenges that we have? What could I have done to try to improve that situation, or try to improve that relationship before I was faced with the reality of potentially losing my mom, right? So there are all these different things that you can assess, and you can reassess, and you can evaluate about the experience that you are going through, and then start to process that and work through that, and then develop a new plan of action, a new direction that you are going to take to right the wrongs, to fix the leaks, to fix the gaps, to close the gaps, to fix the leaks, to bring in new energy. And so again, grinding through that pain, as you to build up a different level of hunger. It's going to allow you to build up a different level of motivation and desire. It's going to allow you to build up a different level of inner strength and inner resolve, as you decide that any situation I am facing to defeat me. I'm not going to allow any situation or challenge that I am facing to cause me to lose this idea, or to lose direction, or to lose the wherewithal to continue to get up each and every. I may not have all of the answers today, but I know that if I continue to get up, right, I took it one day at a time. When I look back and I'm like, damn, like I literally, for 2 years straight, I literally was working 8 to 16 hours a day, sometimes 18 hours a day, 19 hours a day. And I'm not talking, just in the emails. I mean, being out in the field. I mean, going to work for somebody else. I mean, making the phone calls, still managing, the business, going back and getting, some new education in my own profession, all types of stuff. I mean, literally working every single day, Sundays included, right? Sundays included, working every single day to grind through that pain. And the only way, not the only way, but the thing that allowed me to get through that pain and that experience was the fact that I literally took every single day, one day at a time, right? One day at a time. If you just focus on doing what you need to do, right? Just focusing on what you need to do on that particular day, and getting through that day, doing what you need to do that day, going home, feeding yourself, nurturing yourself, reminding yourself of why you're doing what you're doing. Maybe you're doing it for the pursuit of freedom. Maybe you're doing it for your family. You're doing it for your loved ones. Maybe you're doing it for your own peace and happiness, because doing something else makes you unhappy. Reintegrate connect with why you're doing it each and every day, and then getting up every single day and doing what you need to do, and not worrying so much about where you are, but continuing to stay focused on where you're going. So whatever situation you're facing right now, whatever situation may come up, just remember that it's not going to kill you, right? There's that saying that says, what doesn't kill you make you stronger. It's not just a cliche, it's a literal statement. Now, on the opposite side of that, everything that I gained in that process of self-discovery, right? Everything I gained in that process, inner strengthening, allowed me to gain the tools and the perspective, and even discover, what I actually wanted to do with my life and what I actually had to offer the world. And then it allowed me to develop the level of confidence that I needed to even start going down that journey, be able to share, my story and my life experiences, and to be able to open up as a person and as an individual, right? So fast forward, I said, one of the things I said earlier is that what you gain through that experience is going to allow you to take advantage of opportunities that will only come if you went through that experience. If I would have simply quit, if I would have simply closed my doors, if I would have simply gave up, on my mom, if I would have simply gave up on my business, if I would have gave up on, maintaining and ensuring that I continue to be present and I continue to provide the love, continue to provide the leadership for my household, I could be in a totally different situation, right? Like, I know people now getting divorced, unfortunately, people who have been married for a shorter period of time than we've been married, getting divorced. Divorce is a real reality. I, I don't think it would have left me, certainly, but that's a possibility, right? Had I just closed down, had I fallen into depression, had I not continued to pour into the household, and I started to, fall into alcoholism, right? I did have some escapes, but they were still managed. But, there are possibilities, right? When my mom recovered, we were able to, reconnect and try to, strengthen that relationship. On the business side, right, I was able to take on a new skill set that is allowing me to do bigger deals, allow me to build a stronger foundation, and more importantly, is allowing me to reach and share life-changing knowledge and information with people so that they can change their financial destinies and their financial futures. So there are a lot of things that have come about. And in that process, I was still able to accomplish many firsts, right? I was able to run more than 10 miles in my life because I rededicated myself to my physical fitness routine. I was able to, speak at places I never would have thought I was going, I would speak at, because I was too introverted, prior to. I was a speaker, but I didn't have the level of confidence and skill that I had as I continued to invest and develop in that skill set over the course of that 2 years. And it led to, just like last year, I spoke at more than 30 places last year, right? I wouldn't have been able to do that had I given up on myself and had I not continued to reinvest in my skill set, reinvest in my crafts, and to retool. So these are just some examples of how opportunities, how situations can arise if you grind through the pain. If you don't grind through the pain, what'll happen is you'll end up waking up one day and you'll be forced to ask the question, what if? What if, right? I know a lot of people who are probably asking themselves, what if I didn't give up on that goal? What if I didn't give up on pursuing entrepreneurship? What if I didn't give up on that relationship? What if I didn't give up on that marriage, right? Grind through the pain, take it one day at a time, reassess, retool, recommit, reconnect with why, right? Like, you may not be having a rainy day today, right? You may not be having a losing season today, but I guarantee you, the way life works, that rainy day is going to come and that losing season is going to come. So what are you going to do to prepare yourself for it? What are you going to do to get yourself through it? And are you going to create the new individual, the new human being that you are going to become as a result of grinding through the pain and coming out on the other side a much stronger and better person who has more to offer to yourself and who has more to offer to the world. But we're running up on 30 minutes. I hope that, that made sense. I know I was a little all over the place, but life is dynamic like that. And I'm glad that, matter of fact, you wouldn't be on this call right now. The 3 a.m. club would not exist. The 3 a.m. club would not exist. I did not grind through that pain. You know why? Because there were days, many days, where I was up and I was out working at 1 o'clock in the morning, starting my day, right? Not ending my day. I was starting my day at 1 o'clock in the morning. I was starting my day at 1 in the morning. I was starting my day at 2 o'clock in the morning, starting my day at 2:30 in the morning. There were a lot of days where I was ending my day at 1 o'clock in the morning, where I was ending my day at 2 o'clock in the morning, where I was ending my day at 3 o'clock in the morning. There were even days where I was ending my day at 6 o'clock in the morning. So the 3 a.m. club is a byproduct of me grinding through the pain, discovering a new level of focus, a new level of grind, a new level of being, a new level of existing, and realizing that there's a lot more that I can offer and that I have to offer to the world. So whatever you're facing, whatever challenges may come, I hope that you grind through the pain. If there's anything I can do to support you as you make it through that transition, please do not hesitate to reach out. I love you. I appreciate you. And thanks for watching today's edition of the 3 a.m. Club. I hope you have a strong week. I hope you take control over your life this week. And I hope that you continue to invest in your business, continue to invest in your goals. And most importantly, I hope that you continue to invest in yourself. Thank you.